In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make this really simple and easy double layered flower. I shall leave links in the description box below to other tutorials of flowers and leaves so you can check those out. I think these all grouped together on a project would look really nice. I'm using Stylecraft Special DK in the colour violet, and I'm also using a 4.5mm crochet hook. You can use whichever yarn you like. Just check your yarn label to see which hook size you will need, and don't be afraid to go up or down slightly in order to create a different size for this flower. You will also need a pair of scissors and a darning needle to sew in your ends. But before we get started, if you like my videos, make sure you are subscribed to my channel to keep up to date with all of the latest ones. Also, don't forget to tag me in social media of any projects you have made so I can see. So let's go ahead and get started. To start with, you want to create a magic circle. I'll leave a link in the description box below to the tutorial of how to create this magic circle if you are not familiar with it. But go ahead and create your magic circle, and this is what you are going to start off with. So to begin with, we are going to put 6 double crochets into this magic circle. I'm talking in UK terms. In the US, this is known as a double crochet. So I'm going to go ahead and insert my hook, grab the yarn, pull it through. You'll have 2 loops on the hook, and then yarn over and pull through both loops on the hook. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So you then want to grab onto all of these stitches and pull that loose end in order to cinch in that very center circle. So we're not actually going to join at this point, we are just going to work round in a spiral. And what you want to do is look for the front loop and the back loop of these stitches. So if I just turn this to the side here, you can see sort of upside down V's. This one is the back loop, and then the front one facing you is the front loop, and that's the loop that we're going to be working into. So first of all, to work up to the height that we need to be, we're going to start off by chaining 2, and then we're going to do a treble crochet into this very first front loop. So remember, I'm working in UK terms. In the US, this is known as double crochet. So you're going to yarn over and insert your hook into that front loop, grab the yarn and pull it through. You'll have 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and then yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And then we're going to anchor that stitch down by doing a slip stitch into that very same stitch. We're then going to go ahead and chain 2 again, 1, 2, and then we're going to do a treble into the top of the next stitch, so just into the front post. So yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over and pull through. You'll have 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2, and then we're going to slip stitch into that same place. Then we're going to do exactly the same thing, so chain 2, do a treble into the front loop of the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and then go ahead and slip stitch again. So we have just created 3 petals. So this is going to look quite small because these are the smaller petals, and then we'll build the big larger petals on the next couple of rounds. But you want to go ahead and do that 3 more times so that you have 6 petals in total. Rewind the video if you need to, pause the video, and then meet me back once you have finished those 3 petals. So this is what your work should be looking like now. You have 6 petals, and what I'm going to do is just bring this loose end, the very beginning thread, through to the front because it will make it easier for the next 2 rounds. Now what we're going to do is create the larger petals. And to do this, we're going to create a foundation row first, and we're actually going to do this into the back loops. So we just worked into the front loops of those stitches, now we're going to work into the back loops. So I've just turned this over. Can you see this ridge around here? This ridge is those back loops. And if you get a bit confused of which is which, the best thing to do is work your way backwards so that you can find the first one. So for example, this one just here is the very last stitch. So if we count backwards, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now this very first one is the hardest one to find. What I would suggest that you do is pinch the petals like this and just wiggle your hook somewhere around there in order to find a nice loop to work into. I always think the first loop is the hardest one to find, and you know, just try your best to get into that specific loop. But what I tend to do is find a loop to begin with. You might want to use your hook or your darning needle and just wiggle it open a little bit, and this will make it easier when you actually come to work into it. Okay, so just to recap, this is the front. I'm going to fold it over first of all, and then this is my loop that I'm going to work into. The rest of them are much easier to see. So at this point, what we're going to do is we're going to chain one and then do a treble crochet into that loop, that first loop, which in fact is the back loop. So remember, I'm working in UK terms. This is actually a treble crochet, double crochet in the US. Yarn over, insert into that loop or anywhere you can in order to anchor down that first treble crochet. This one is the hardest one. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through two, and then yarn over, pull through two. We're then going to chain one and then work into the next back loop, which is much easier to find. So yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through two, and yarn over, pull through two, chain one, and then do a treble into the next back loop. And then you're going to repeat this until you have 6 of these chain spaces. So we have 1, 2, 3 already, and you'll do it 3 more times. So go ahead, pause the video, chain 1 and then treble crochet into the back loop, and meet me back once you have finished. So now you have finished round 3, you are left with what looks like a very odd project. You've got your smaller petals at the front, your loose end at the front to keep it out of the way, and then the back will look like this. So you'll basically have 6 of these chain 1 spaces, and that's what we're going to work in for this very last row. So first of all, if you are looking at the front and these smaller petals, just bring those petals forward slightly, and then you'll find that very first chain 1 space. And what we're going to do is slip stitch into that chain 1 space to anchor it down to begin with. Now we're going to create the larger petals. So you're going to start off by chaining 2. You're going to do 2 treble crochets into that chain 1 space. Remember, that's UK terms. In the US, that's double crochet. So this is my second one. You're going to chain 2, and then you're going to anchor that chain 2 down with a slip stitch into that very same space. And then we're going to repeat that again. So I'm going to pull those petals from the first round forwards, chain 2, do 2 treble crochets, 1 and 2, chain 2, and then slip stitch into that chain 1 space. So we're going to repeat this, but I'll show you one more time. Chain 2, 2 treble crochets, 1 and 2, and then chain 2 and slip stitch into that chain 1 space. So what you're going to do is repeat that 3 more times because we've just created 3 larger petals. And then before you do your last slip stitch, so work your way up to the last one, but don't do your slip stitch, pause the video and then meet me back when you're ready at that point. Okay, so I have done all of my 6 petals. What I'm going to do is, instead of doing my slip stitch into that same space, I'm actually going to do my slip stitch into the base around here, so where we very first started this round, just because it will anchor it down a little bit better. And I'm going to yarn over and chain 1, grab my scissors, snip off the yarn and then pull it out, and that is our flower. All that's left to do is just push this initial loose end through, and what I would suggest that you do is sew this one in and then use this one, the one that's in the center, to sew onto your work. The reason why I say to use this center one is because it will sit better onto your work. It will also entwine the yarn into your work and it will stop this from coming undone. But if you do want to just leave this as its own piece, I would suggest that you use the rule of 3 and you sew into your work one way, sew back the other, and then sew back one more time, and it just really makes sure that that's not going anywhere. So there you go, that is how to do this simple double layered flower motif. I really hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, make sure you give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to keep up to date with all of my latest videos, and if you are already subscribed, click that bell button because it will notify you of when my new videos go live. But thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you again next time. Bye!